going to sing a song for you called Welcoming Paddy Home. But before I do that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the St. Patrick's Day past, just a few weeks ago here in beautiful Bangkok. And I've been outside Ireland on St. Patrick's Day for really most of my life. My 7 years in London, 7 and then 48 in America, and I was never been back in Ireland during that time on St. Patrick's Day itself. Growing up in County Limerick, it was a very muted affair in that particular time in Irish history. There were Lenten restrictions that were lifted for the day, and you could eat whatever you wanted on that one day. So I suppose that was a celebration of sorts. But the pubs were closed. If there was anything at all, it was a kind of fairly muted local procession to a church. That didn't happen in many places, indeed, at all. And we were encouraged to go into the field next door and find a shamrock and pin it to our lapels. And that was about the size of it. When I went to America, however, I was to learn that it was a whole different affair altogether. And the Irish diaspora wanted to prove through various symbols that they were Irish on that day. And of course the colour green was dominant in that celebration, and symbols that we used to look down on in Ireland, like the shillelagh and the leprechaun and so on, they were very much part of American carnival-like activities on St. Patrick's Day. And of course there was the parade, which is militaristic, and we could have picked another way to do it, but we didn't. And I went to parades. The first one I ever went to was in Savannah, Georgia, and I was mortified to find I was the only person in the parade not wearing green. And I realised then that the symbols of Irishness were very important once you went away from the country. And of course there are parades just about every big city in America that the Irish are associated with. Obviously there's Boston, there's Philadelphia, there's San Francisco, there's Seattle, in Canada there's Montreal. There's also places that the Irish wouldn't have been in all that much, New Orleans and Miami. And of course a very significant parade in what was at one time the most Irish town in America, Butte, Montana. And of course globally there are parades in Sydney, there are parades in Tokyo. In fact, you name it, big cities with any kind of an Irish heritage at all, and there are 60 million people estimated in the Irish diaspora worldwide, would have some kind of celebration. Now, however, here in Bangkok, where I've been in lockdown for the last year, there really never has been much activity on St. Patrick's Day because of the very small Irish population. There's an annual activity called the Emerald Ball, and I've been at one time playing music. But this year, as part of a global greening initiative, which was really mounted by the Department of Foreign Affairs in Ireland, Bangkok had a very, very special St. Patrick's Day. And so why don't I take you to a place that was very much Irish on that day for the first time. It's a famous temple. And I'm going to bring you there and look at the temple during the day and then later on that night. The temple is called Wat Arun, means the Temple of the Dawn, and the river is the Chao Phraya River, which is the River of Kings, and Bangkok is the City of Angels. So, to the Temple of the Dawn on the River of Kings and the City of Angels, let's go and see you at the river. I grew up in County Limerick, close to the banks of the Shannon, the longest river in Ireland, and I've always been fascinated with rivers and boats and the people who sail and work on them, each boat of course with its own unique story. Here in Southeast Asia I have travelled by boat up the Tonle Sap in Cambodia, the Irrawaddy River in Burma, and the mighty Mekong in Laos and Vietnam, but maybe my favourite of them all is the Chao Phraya River that I am now on in a narrow-body, long-tailed boat as we approach the famed Wat Arun. Well, here I am by the beautiful Wat Arun, probably the most photogenic temple in the whole of Thailand. Wat Arun means Temple of the Dawn. And this temple was built as an idea by King Thaksin in 1768. And it was after the sack of Ayutthaya the capital of Thailand at that time by the Burmese. And he was recuperating here in Bangkok, and he came across to this exact point and had a vision of the dawn and of maybe the future that was to be. And he commissioned this temple. 1768, it's been around ever since. It's an extraordinary building. There are perhaps millions of pieces of glass and porcelain embedded here in the mortar and making it the most extraordinary building of its kind anywhere in this country. It's the most photographed temple by far in Thailand and beloved by tourists. They flock here and indeed flocked here in more numbers in pre-COVID times. And it was for the longest time the home of the most extraordinary emerald in the whole country of Thailand. And that emerald is now across the river in the temple of the Emerald Buddha. And here remains just a beautiful spot. I'm here in St. Patrick's Day. And tonight, this temple will be lit up green for the first time ever. And imagine what it's like for an Irishman here so far away from home. I'll be sitting in a restaurant across the river a few hours from now, watching this temple, this beloved temple, become green. And I tell you, the Christian Brothers never prepared me for this back in Limerick so many years ago. Well, I'm going to sing for you a song that I've known now for a good many years, about 3.5 decades, I think. I got it from Cathal McConnell, and I learned it, of all places, in the New England football team stadium, the Patriots Stadium up there near Boston, Sullivan Stadium. And what in the name of God, says you, was I doing learning a song at a football stadium? Well, there was an Irish festival that took place. It was run by Brian O'Donovan, who was the stadium manager at that time, as I understand. Brian O'Donovan is a Cork man who runs a wonderful series of Christmas concerts every year, runs a radio program, WGBH, one of the finest programs of Celtic music in America. And he also runs a lot of other concerts at St. Patrick's Day and other times of the year. Anyway, Cathal McConnell came in and said, I have a great new song for you. And I've been singing it ever since, on and off. And it's called Welcoming Paddy Home. And I often introduce it as the only song I know about a man who actually goes back from America to Ireland. We've all these thousands of songs of immigration about people coming from Ireland to America, but only one about going back to Ireland. And I introduced it always as that. And then a man came up to me once and he said, that's not a song about a man going back to Ireland at all. I said, what do you mean? He said, it's a song about a man talking about going back to Ireland. And I said, God, you're right. But anyway, it's a great song. It's called Welcoming Paddy Home. And joining me in this is Brenda Castles and Hayley Richardson. I am a true-born Irishman, and that I will never deny. I was born in the sweet Tipperary, me boys, 3,000 miles away. Hooray, me boys, hooray. No more do I wish for to roam, for the sun that will shine in the harvest time to welcome poor Paddy home. The girls so neat and so frisky, they'll take you by the hand, saying, Paddy, a Cree, won't you come with me? Come back to your native land. Hooray! No more do I wish for to roam, for the sun that will shine in the harvest time to welcome poor Paddy home. Then in came a faraway stranger, and he scattered all over the land, the horse and the cow, the goat and the sow fell into the spring. Hooray, me boys, hooray. No more do I wish for to roam, for the sun that will shine in the harvest time to welcome poor Paddy home. The Scotsman may boast of the thistle, and the English can boast of the rose, but Paddy can boast of the Emerald Isle, where the dear little shamrock grows. Hooray, me boys, hooray. No more do I wish for to roam, for the sun that will shine in the harvest time to welcome poor Paddy home. I am a true-born Irishman, and that I will never deny. I was born in the sweet Tipperary, me boys, 3,000 miles away. Hooray, boys, hooray. No more do I wish for to roam, for the sun that will shine in the harvest time to welcome poor Paddy.